Howdy ho, Facebook friends, and glad to be back here with you shooting this live video. I feel like I have so much to say, and for years I've had various platforms in which to say it, various businesses, various brands, various ways to support and empower and awaken the world, and I'm loving that Facebook Live just allows me to just get on and say what I need to say and have potentially an audience to say it to. So thanks for everybody that's here with me now or will be here with me. Earlier today I posted a video further down my page from Charles Eisenstein. Charles Eisenstein has written several books, but one of my most favorite books, well, the only book I've actually read, hey, Mr. Jacobson, what's up, is Sacred Economics. Sacred Economics is a must-read if you're somebody that is really tired of the way that the world is going and know that there's a better way and feel compelled to be part of the solution. Thanks, Doug. And are looking for ways to feel better really about what's happening, because it's pretty dismal out there. It's pretty dismal out there. And Charles Eisenstein is somebody that truly not only has a great way of describing, how we got here, what the problem is, but he really goes into an in-depth solution that I feel really good about, that we are headed towards that solution. Probably about 2 years ago, I started to get really clear that I wanted nothing more to do with this current economic structure in society, and that I was moving toward creating something new or experiencing something new. But what is that? Like that's not something that I just do or have. And one of the several years prior to that, I remember working with a shaman. She was supporting me on some private work and bringing more spiritual practices into my life, and I was lamenting about money at some point to her, and she said, there is new money coming onto this planet, but you need the special ATM card to get it. And that really intrigued me, because I feel that every single piece of money that is currently in circulation is tinged by a little bit of darkness. And I've done all my wealth consciousness work. I've made money, I've had money, I've not had money, I've, run businesses, not into the ground, I've never run a business into the ground, but I've released businesses. But I started to really get clear on what is this new economic system for myself. Hey, Dad, nice to see you. And when I was sharing some of the things that I had been really sitting into and feeling into and starting to see for myself and what that meant in my own exploration, a friend of mine turned me on to this book. So once again, this book, Sacred Economics by Charles Eisenstein. It's a really powerful read for anybody that's looking to evolve out of the current economic situation and stop putting your money towards things that are harming this planet, and actually begin to put your money towards things that are actually for the greater good of everyone, including our planet. So there's really a lot of amazing things in this book. And again, I had posted one of his videos below this video earlier today that you can check out and get a sense of him. But what I started to realize when my friend turned me onto this book is that Charles Eisenstein is literally putting forth the world that I have been feeling into and seeing, and it's a really powerful world. And I want to read a little passage from this. Oh, the book's backwards. I don't know how to get it forward. I don't know how to do it. So, Sacred Economics. No, that's upside down. It's Sacred Economics by Charles Eisenstein, and yeah, I don't know how to get it flipped around. So there's this one passage that I want to read. If you caught my live video a couple days ago about my biggest takeaway from Burning Man, or really almost any video, I kind of talk about this in because it's so important to me. There's so many of us that are really feeling disheartened about what's going on in the world. And, hey Daniel. Yeah, exactly. It's the other side. So it's backwards. Well, you guys are backwards, not me. You must be the backwards ones. Anyways, One of my favorite quotes and something that I really live by, and it's really helpful during this super time of tumultuous political climate and world climate and all the things that are happening in this country and beyond, is to remember, because it can feel pretty helpless. It can feel pretty like, well, what can I possibly do? Nothing really is working. Well, as Gandhi said, you can be the change, right? And that's not my favorite quote, but the quote that I love is, we are not in the world is in us. And I really want you to take that in for a second, because we think we're in the world because the world feels very real, but really the world is just a collective agreement made up of all of our, belief systems projected out into the world and then reflected back to us. So we're all consciously creating this world, and now we've gotten to the point where we have the political climate that we do in the United States because where have our egos run amok? And we have a perfect epitome of a leader that really represents so much of the shadow side of where we've been as a culture, and not really willing to look at ourselves and really take a hard look in the mirror. Good old Michael Jackson, right? Starting with the man in the mirror. If you want to make a change, better start with yourself. And that's what I'm talking about. Where can we begin to look inside? If the world isn't us, then where can we eradicate our inner Trump? Like, where are we in our own ego? Where are we in our own narcissism? Where are we trying to get ahead for the sake of getting ahead, to prove our worth in the world? On and on and on. And this passage that I want to read really speaks to that. The concept is that we look at Mother Earth and we think of her as mother, and as a culture, we act very juvenile in relationship to Mother Earth. We act like she's just abundant and she can just keep giving, and no matter how needy we are or how hungry we are, she'll keep giving and giving and giving to us. But now we're at a place where it's obvious there's not much more giving to be had. We've taken and we've taken and we've taken. And we're at a point where our clean water, our fresh air, our soil is in peril. And these things are incredibly valuable. They're what we need to not only live, but to thrive and survive. And when we are depleting them or polluting them, forget about climate change. I mean, that's a bigger conversation which can be debated, but let's just look at, can I drink from this stream? Is my water pure? Can I breathe this air without getting illnesses? Can I eat this food without getting toxins and poisons? That's a bigger question. Who cares about climate change? And I don't mean who cares. I mean, that's a bigger conversation which is mired in politics and messiness. But what's really an issue is the most valuable resources we have are the ones that are muddied. And they're muddied because of the financial system and the financial structures and the economic system that we've set up, which is also, as he talks about, really just a combination of our belief. Money is only valuable because we believe it's valuable. And we all believe it's valuable, and we're all slaves to it. So, in leading up to the passage I'm about to read, is he talks about, we're at that point where we just can't take any more from Mother Earth, and we have to evolve and see Mother Earth as a lover and shift the dynamic and the energy and the relationship with the earth, and stop seeing her as mother who will just give and give and give to us at the expense of herself, and we can just take and take and take and be needy babies, and really step into where we can be in lover relationship with her and tend to her as though we would tend to a lover. And that is a really different idea, and I love what he says here. But in relationship to the quote, we are not in the world is in us, he ties what we do to the earth to what we do to ourselves, and there's so many parallels we can make, and I thought the one that he made here in this passage was quite profound, because the work I do with women in particular, we are at a crisis where women have more health issues, more fertility issues, more adrenal burnout, more rise of cancer and other, diseases and fibromyalgia than we've ever had before. And there's a lot that goes into that, and I'm not here to talk about that topic today, but it's a real situation. It's a crisis that we're in. And now I'm learning even about where men are really struggling. And my husband is working deeply in a evolving men's movement. And I'm hearing, and more men are coming to my workshops and saying, what about the men? What about the men? So different conversation for a different video. But I want to read this passage because I think it was really, it just really struck me. And again, he's talking about in context to no longer taking from Mother Earth, seeing her as Mother Lover, and really starting to put value on things like clean water and keeping nature intact and things like that. So the comparison he's making here, let me see. Okay, so he says that. So he talks about, a child in his wanting does not take his mother's limits into account. Between lovers, it's different. That's why I foresee a future in which we maintain local, regional, and global ceilings on the use of various resources, such as fishery catches, groundwater use, carbon emissions, timber harvest, topsoil depletion, and many more will be carefully monitored and held to sustainable levels. These resources, clean water, clean air, minerals, biota, and more, will be sacred to us. So sacred that I doubt we will refer to them as resources any more than we refer to our own vital organs as resources or dream of depleting them. Actually, we do deplete our vital organs. For purposes analogous for those which we deplete the vital organs of the earth. And then he goes on to say, the parallels run so deep that one parallel is that the drawdown of the earth's stored fossil fuel and the depletion of the adrenal glands of the human race through chemical and psychological stimulants. So in traditional, and this is really powerful, in traditional Chinese medical thought, the adrenal glands are part of the kidney organ system, which is understood to be the reservoir of the original qi, right, the life force. Qi, as well as a gateway to an ongoing supply of acquired qi. So when we are in harmony with our life purpose, these gateways to the life force open wide and give us constant supply of energy. But when we lose this alignment, which many of us lose, many of us aren't even in alignment with our life purpose and our supply of energy, we must use increasingly violent methods such as coffee, motivational techniques, or threats to jerk the life force through the adrenals. Similarly, the technologies we use to access fossil fuels have become more and more violent. Hydraulic fracking, like, come on, right? Mountaintop removal, tar sand exploitation, and so on. And we are using these fuels for frivolous or destructive purposes that are evidently out of alignment with the purpose of the human species on Earth. The personal and planetary mirror each other. The connection is more than a mere analogy. The kind of work that we use, coffee, and external motivation, for example, money, right? We're like, most of us are motivated by money because of survival. And so we'll pump ourselves full of coffee just to go and get the job done so that we can have the money so that we can survive and eat the crappy food and drink the crappy water that's been polluted and then drive for more money. Like, it's insanity. It's really insanity. That's me speaking, not the book. But the kind of work that we use, coffee and external motivation, to force ourselves to do is precisely the kind of work that contributes to the despoliation of the planet, so the spoiling of the planet. We don't really want to do it to our bodies. We don't really want to do it to the world. So, and then it says, we want to become givers and not just takers in our relationship to Earth. So I really take that in. That's something I've been sitting with and really looking at how much of the things that I'm doing in my life or have done in my life, I'm shifting a lot, contribute to the spoils of this planet. And when we can really look at how can you individually shift your relationship with the false illusion that we need to have more and more and more and more and more until there's nothing left for anybody, and look at where you seek more and more and more, where you become a slave to that more because you're fearful of your own survival, or just even feeling like you want more for the sake of the society saying you need to have more, or any ways that feels out of alignment with your truth, which is what I've been deeply, deeply exploring for myself. Everything from tearing down my business, to recreating things, to stepping outside of the victim mentality, to not being upset about all of the injustices in the world and really looking at, well, where do those occur within me? A lot has shifted for me. And I believe that when we shift within ourselves, when we tend to the world inside us, the world out there changes. And as much as I love a good political activism, I think it's amazing that people are out there. You know, I hear a lot of resist, resist, resist. Well, that which we resist persists. So I'm not here to resist anything. I'm here to take a stand and be part of the solution. And I mean be part of the solution. And I think every single one of us gets to play a part. And when you're feeling helpless and like, what can you do? And even though you may be doing a lot, calling your representatives, joining movements, waking up, that's all great. But if you're not doing the inner work, if you're not eradicating your own inner Trump and your own inner violation of your own organs and resources and everything else, or feeling bad about yourself and not doing everything you can to love and tend to and take care of yourself, well, then you're part of the problem. And I've been part of the problem, and I'm committed to being part of the solution. And it starts here, right? Think globally, act locally. Well, that locally is right here, right in your heart and soul and body. So I could say a lot more about this, but I was just inspired because I came across some of Charles's videos. Again, below there's a video of him. This book is what I've read from. I know it's backwards, but it's called Sacred Economics, Money, Gift, and Society in the Age of Transition. Amazing read. Charles Eisenstein's the man. He really has put into words and solution so much of what I've been, you know, my heart's been really saddened about. And I truly do feel that we are in a major place where this is all going. It is shifting. I'm watching communities grow in different areas. The problem is being solved. So if we stop focusing on the problem and look at where all the solutions are, again, locally and globally, we're going to see a major shift soon. So get off the CNN, get off the anger trip if you're on any of that, Dad, if you're still watching, anybody else, and start looking at how you can be part of the solution and where you can continue to change and evolve yourself into a more sacred, reverent life. So that's what I got. Thanks so much for tuning in. And if you like this video, like it. And if you have a comment, please, thank you for the hearts. Please post some comments. And I think the way Facebook works, that if you comment or like, then when I share that I'm going to shoot again or when I come live again, you'll be notified. So stay tuned. Lots more juicy conversation to be had. And I look forward to whatever this stirred for you. I'd love to hear from you. Please post below. All right, everybody, have a beautiful rest of your Friday afternoon and happy weekend. Take care.